Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another card making video. We're going to be using the Sunshine Vibes stamp set and dies. Nice bundle that's in the new annual catalogue from Stampin Up. So we're going to be using that today in conjunction with a colour challenge. This is the SU Colour Challenge Facebook page, or Facebook group I should say. So there's a monthly challenge, and this month we have Calypso Coral, Pumpkin Pie, Lost Lagoon and Black as our combination. Okay, so the inspiration image will be on the blog post that goes with this, but you can go along to that Facebook group and join that if you like as well, and you can participate each month. So there we are. So we're sticking with the colours but making a variation of the card. Okie dokie. So let's say they are the colours I sort of gravitate to. Don't really do oranges and reds that much, but you know, that's the challenge, and that's why I participate in them, just to try and sort of break those comfort zones a little bit. Now in on the camera, I think you can tell the outer band on the rainbow is Calypso Coral. Then I've done 2 Pumpkin Pie, 2 Lost Lagoon to build up the rainbow, and just kept it really quite simple on a black layer as per the colour combination to introduce the black. Then I've just stamped the sentiment in black and added some matte black dots. So really simple card. I'm going to show you how I got this effect and how I lined it up as well. Okay, so let's get started then. So obviously just using the sentiment from this set today. I'll just show you the dies a bit more closely actually. So we've got this die cuts out all the stripes all at once. Okay, all the bands, and then we've got this one that we can use as well to cut out the whole thing. Okay, and then you've got combinations of the other little bits and pieces. So these 2 pieces come together to form a band as well, and you can interchange the bottom one. You can either use the spotty one or this one. Then you've got a few little embellies in there as well. So it's a really cute little set, and I think you could probably use it in lots of different ways actually, and some ideas have just popped into my head that I can share on another video. Okay, right, so this one I've kept completely flat, and my tip for making sure that you get your arcs where they need to be, if you don't want to just freehand it and you want to get the spacing right, was I used the negative piece as a guide really, and I just tacked it in place with some low tack tape, and then I inlaid all the pieces, and then they were exactly where I needed them to be. So if that's something that you think you might struggle with on how to get them in the right place, that's my tip for you, to use that. And I might hold on to that actually and just leave it in my you can leave it in your case with your dies, so you've got it for next time. Okay, so we're going to add a little bit more. So this one's almost completely flat, so we're going to use the other die in there to pop up our rainbow. So I've actually got some willow white in here, okay, which we're going to cut the bands from. Okay, but I'm going to also grab some basic white, which is a little firmer, just to cut a background layer as well. Okay, so we'll just whiz this one through quickly. Probably could have done that ahead of time, but didn't think about it. Sometimes my ideas evolve as I'm talking to you. Oh dear. Okay, so there's a background piece ready to go, just from that simple die. Okay, and again you've got a template now. In fact, let's do that. Let's cut that out a little bit I might use that. So let's do that. Let's just hold on to that. Might be useful. And then this one is the one that does the bands, okay? And I'm just using the Willow White, as I said. I'm just wondering which way is going to make this most efficient. That's a cut corner, so I might use that one. And we'll just run this through. So you'll end up with all of these separate pieces. And when you roll it through, if you put the sort of top of the arcs towards the top, that'll make it go through nice and easy. I'm going to bring in a silicone sheet to protect my desk as well. So that comes away nicely. Pop that to one side. Okay, obviously you're going to get a template each time you cut it, but you know, if you might want to just keep one that's nicely spaced or whatever. And then we can pull those off onto our sheet. Like so. And we could mix up the colours a little bit and just do a very, well, it's not really a traditional rainbow with the colours that we've done anyway, but we could do them in a different order. On the sample card I used the dark markers, and on this one I'm going to use the light markers. So I might do it in reverse just for lols really. And just see how that looks. And you don't have to do them two at a time. We could space like do them in sort of stripes if you like. So well, let's do that as well. Let's just mix it up and give you lots of ideas. Okay, so as you can see, I'm using a Stampin' Blend marker to actually colour the cardstock. So there's a couple of things with this. If you cut this every time from your super stash, whether that's the two-tone cardstock or the do that one, coral, I'll do, I want to separate out the orange and the red a little bit. The if you cut this from your good cardstock every time, I just feel like it might be a little bit wasteful. That said, what you would end up with is several arcs all in the same colour that you could then mix and match and combine together. So there's pros and cons to both really. I'm very much you know, if I can use my white cardstock stash and get the look that I want, then I will. Then save my good stock for other things. So quite often use the cardstock for card bases, for example. So you know, it's your choice basically what you would prefer to do. And also this means also if you haven't got the colour that you want, there is a coordinating this is all part of a suite. There's some embellishments and some designer series paper. I do actually have the designer series paper. I might show you that in a second then. That's the Calypso Coral. Actually looks quite pink when you use the light marker. Almost looks a bit like sort of a peachy tone. Whether that's just because my marker's on the way out, I don't know. Okay, and then you could just going on from that as well, just had to think while we were doing that, you can cut these from designer series paper. It doesn't have to be the coordinating designer series paper, but you can cut them from that. So that's going to look cute. It's a completely different look, but it's cute, right? Okay, so now we need to flip all these over because we need to put some glue on these. If you really want to intensify the colour, you can colour on the back as well, and it will soak through and make it really nice and rich, but I don't think that's necessary with these ones. Okay, so rather than stick straight to the card, I thought I could add it straight to this. So you're gonna have to line that up. You might want to put it against a window or a light or something just to see whether that's lined up properly, or you can wing it and just go with it, or you could have stuck them down and then cut them again. We could do that as well. Okay, do you see what I mean? So you could have put that onto a flat piece of cardstock, and then once it was done, use that to cut it out, because you know they'd have been in the right place. That was the other way you could have done it. Okay, chucked away the wrong thing. Alright, we might just wing this one. So just put ever such a little bit of glue on those, and we'll pop these on. And I'm kind of gonna look to line up the bottom there and then just see where they land. Really, it is supposed to be a boho sort of look to it. It's very non-traditional in terms of the colours as well, because this is the designer series paper. That looks like it's yeah, it is. It's Cajun Craze, Cloud Cover, Daffodil Delight, Mossy Meadow, Petal Pink, and Secret Sea. So not traditional in any way, shape or form, but sort of a variation. It's like it's an orangey red, and it's a peachy pink, orange, and so it's sort of gone with those muted tones of rainbow colours, if you like. So I've not even opened this, as you can see. Okay, so you get these lovely some stripes in there as well, which is cool. Oh, that's nice. I like that one. That's nice as a black background. I like that one. A bit more stripes, and then a bit more plain, excuse me, patterns on the other side. Secret Sea. That one's nice. Little sort of V's that almost look like hearts. So yeah, a nice set of paper. I know some of you are going to be thinking, oh wow, Verity's book paper. I don't use it very often, but I thought I need to potentially do some other things, just mix up my sort of style with you guys. So again, I'm just gonna lie this on, and you know, these aren't perfect arcs, and I think that's what might put people off in terms of how they position them. But I think the fact that they aren't perfect means you've got a little bit of artistic license, if you catch my meaning. So don't worry about it. Your recipient's not going to know that you haven't lined those up perfectly. Right, let's just pick that up. I'm trying not to get into a mess with all this wet glue. Wet glue isn't my friend. No, that's gone down in completely the wrong place, but we'll scoot that over. So some of the gaps are bigger than others, you know. If you get glue on the background that you don't like, then you can use a adhesive eraser if you've got one. If you don't, a sort of good quality white rubber will do. Don't use the end of a pencil. They're rubbish, they are. They're not very good erasers at the best of times, even for pencil. But the what I call the old-fashioned school rubbers, they're quite good. One of these kind of, they're plain white ones. go. So it's not a perfect rainbow, and it doesn't need to be, basically, is what I'm going to say to you. Just go with it. Okay, and then obviously we're keeping within the bounds of a colour challenge with this, so I've used the white cardstock, but that could be anything. You could incorporate another colour by using that, or you leave it like I did on the sample card, and just you let the background do what it needs to do. Okay, we could put wink on that, we could do all sorts of things. Okay, but because we've got it on that panel, which now means that we can pop it up. Okay, so I'm going to grab my dimensionals, and we'll pop some of those on the back. It's quite a big die, so let's just make sure it's got enough support. That'll do. Don't need to plaster it with stuff. Okay, right, let's just grab the bits and pieces. So I've got plain white card base, and I've got a card layer in black, so keeping with the theme. Okay, but I've cut that a little bit. I've cut the white 1/8 of an inch smaller than I would have done normally, so I've got a little bit of more of a border. And again, that's just to make it sort of show more, because we're doing the colour challenge. That's part of the design and the features that we want to sort of come out of that. So we'll line that up. We'll say get your get 3 points of reference, and then the rest should do itself, or thereabouts anyway. There we go. A few little fuzzies coming up on the cardstock there, because sometimes the heavy coloured cardstocks, they have a lot of ink in them, so they've got a higher moisture content, and they sometimes feather a little bit, but you should be able to rub it away. And if you can't, use your fingers. Use one of these little sanding blocks, dead cheap, pack of million for no money at all, really. They're like nail filing blocks. So again, just to jazz this up a little bit, I thought I might bring in, she's a sort of naughty, but it's a neutral. There's this really cool new ribbon. Okay, this, what they call this, mesh ribbon, I think they call it, but it's gold. Isn't that cool? And I thought it might look nice with these colours as a sort of a bit of a cute little embellishment around the back, and just sort of tie it in a nice floofy bow, just to really sort of make it, I don't know, I feel like this one you could easily send to a guy because it's muted and stuff, whereas if we put this on, I think it might make it a little bit more floofy and a bit more feminine. Totally up to you guys, you don't have to do this, but I'm just trying to share, obviously share ideas. Okay, so my other tip is just to use some tape to secure ribbon, because it's cheaper than specialist craft adhesive, which you want to be using for your actual crafting projects. Okay, and then, like I say, we can tie a nice floofy bow. I've got 2 rolls of this stuff. I can't remember if it's part of a suite or not. Okay, but we can, I like to do the bunny ear method, 2 loops and then just tie it in a knot to create my bows. I think that's what I find that the easiest. And if you give yourself enough to play with so that you can tie it the way you want it to, and that knot's going to come really nice and tight. Some ribbons, they are they're sort of got this sort of slick kind of texture to them, which can make them a little bit fiddly to tie. This one's good. It's got the right mixture of slick and mesh, which means that it'll tie quite nicely. So it's going to come over that rainbow a bit, but I don't think I mind that really, to be honest with you. I think it's going to look cute. So I might make it just a tad smaller. This is on the fly. I wasn't intending on putting this on. This is what happens. My little brain sort of starts to digress and come up with other ideas as I'm creating. Sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does. So, little teeny tiny tails, which might be too short. Oh no, not too bad. You want your tails to be longer than your bow loops, otherwise it looks odd. Yeah, cute. Okay, right. So that can go on there now. If you think it's gonna, the dimensionals and ribbon don't really go together very well. Dimensionals like something nice and flat and square to sit on, so you might find some dabs of glue helpful. I think it's just those middle ones that really don't need the help, and it sort of soaks through and helps you keep that secure. So it's just going to peek out, and I don't want it to peek out underneath this bit. I want it to go behind and just be sort of subtle in the background. Okay. And then another thing I don't do very often is stamp directly onto a card. So I haven't stuck this down onto a card base yet. So it's so you don't waste your card base and don't mess it up, basically. Okay. Just need to just give you one moment. I'm sure pressing record does something to my sinuses, which means that I end up with a runny nose. So Memento Black ink and the Sending Good Vibes sentiment from the set is what we're going to do. The more you ink the polymer stamps, the better they stamp, if you know what I mean. They take the ink well. I'd say that's going to be better than the original already, I can just tell, even though I sort of did wipe it down. I'll show you that in a second. So I've mounted it on the block, and I'm looking to get that sort of centered with my stripes on the rainbow, so they kind of look like they're lining up the sort of the G and the S, look like they're underneath those Calypso coral band. So I'm going to just pop it right there. Brave. Stamping directly onto a card. Lots of people do it, for sentiments, I should say, not just stamp directly onto cards with other things all the time, but for sentiments not straight and everything, you're potentially starting again. So it's a bit of a scary thing to try and do. Now we can put our bow on with a glue dot, because that's the best way to do it. So we can press that on, and we can just stick that over there. Oh, I need to stick it to the card base before I go crazy and add all the other stuff. Oh, so daisy. Let's roll that on. That's regular black cardstock rather than the two-tone as well, just to give it a bit of strength. You could have used the two-tone if you've got it. So we've got a nice white border on the front of the card now, like so. Oh, it's so cute, so cute. And then we can add our little black embellies. Oh, actually, gold embellies. You know what? Gold. Let's bring in that gold. It's a neutral. It's allowed. I've got some of these little sequins left over from a kit. Don't ask me which one. I think it's the heirloom kit, maybe, which are just like the neutral sequins, which I loved. I'm not even sure if they're still available, but like I say, got these nice little I had these left over, so let's use those. Okay, that's it. Oh, I like it. Isn't it cute? I've got to let that glue dry, and I'll take that off. That I might be able to do it now. It'll look mucky, and then it'll kind of peel off. There we go. It's coming away. So I'll just take a little bit of time. It's not fully dry yet, which is why it looks a bit rubbish right now. Or you can use a glue eraser. So once it's dried properly, I could be able to get that all that off. Oh, it's coming away now. So just work at it along the edge of that cardstock, and it will kind of ball up, and you'll be able to remove it. There we go. So that bit's gone. So either a wet eraser or a specialist thing will do. Right, there we go. And that's the original card. Love it. Just a bit softer colours, so you can really go to town with the colours and do something really, really cute. What about a baby card? Right, so change up the sentiment. Although hello is in the set, so you could go hello and have your if you know the sex of the baby, or a gender neutral colour palette. Or if you don't know, all of them, you know, you could have blue, pink, yellow, and sort of, you know, pastel green or whatever. Use those colours for a baby card. That'd be cool. Okay, so that's my serving suggestion today, using the, what's it called, Summer Vibes, no, not that one, Sunshine Vibes, and the coordinating dies. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed it. Links will be in the description, of course, to the blog and all the stuff that I've used today. And of course, you can make it your own. Thanks so much for sticking with me today. Do stay safe, take care. See you again soon. Bye bye.